Wajahat, I want to thank you for joining us. You just spent the past 6 months working on a report, Fear Inc., The Roots of the Islamophobia Network in America. Now, you say that suggesting that Islamophobia is a big problem in the United States. Is that what you found in this report?
Well, what we found in the report is there's not a vast right-wing conspiracy. The Islamophobia network, the research has shown, primarily responsible for manufacturing and disseminating anti-Muslim.
What were some of the key findings in this report?
Well, the key findings are the following. There are 7 funders who give $42.6 million to the Islamophobia network. That's the money trail.
This is a strange position for Wajahat to take, considering he works for the Center for American Progress. Center for American Progress is the organization that published the report Fear Incorporated, of which Wajahat Ali is the principal author. Basically, Fear Incorporated accuses 5 men of using $42.6 million to commit Islamophobia. However, this $42.6 million was acquired over a period of almost 10 years. When one does the math, this is less than $1 million a year per Islamophobe. CAP, on the other hand, runs a $25 million per year operation. This is like a 6-foot, 200-pound man facing a 30-foot, 1,000-pound opponent. CAP is part of the George Soros network and is patronized by the Sandlers of San Francisco.
This money primarily goes to the second category, which I call the central nervous system, which is the Islamophobia policy experts and scholars, a group of 5 individuals and think tanks who are primarily responsible for creating these manufactured memes we hear. Example, President Obama is a Muslim. Sharia is a totalitarian threat to America.
In typical Islamist fashion, Wajahat does not address legitimate concern with Sharia. Instead, he characterizes Sharia as simply a matter of praying, fasting, and so forth. None of the problematic aspects of Sharia are ever discussed in Fear Incorporated. Fear Incorporated describes Sharia as praying, fasting, and honoring one's parents. Fear Incorporated implies a recent Tennessee bill would imprison followers of Islam for 15 years. However, when one reads the Tennessee bill, it is clear they are not targeting Muslims, but terrorists, as defined by law. This problem with Sharia maniacs has been going on in this country for nearly 25 years. Notice the dates on these clips from Stephen Emerson's Jihad in America.
We solve our problems in the trenches, not in the hotels. Our problems are solved in the trenches.
From the Al-Kifaq Refugee Center in Brooklyn, Abdullah Azam and others would go around the country raising money and preaching holy war.
There is no turning back from the stone to the pistol, to the Uzi, to the cannon, to the RPG, and then you can expect Allah's ultimate victory.
The Al-Kifaq Refugee Center set up an elaborate support and recruiting network coast to coast, with branches in more than 38 American cities. These centers became clearinghouses and recruiting offices to support jihad around the world.
The world today is arbitrarily ruled by Jews and Christians. The Americans, the British, and others. And behind them, the fingers of international Jewry with their wealth and their women and their media. Oh brothers, after Afghanistan, nothing in the world is impossible for us anymore. There are no superpowers or mini-powers. What matters is the willpower that springs from our religious belief.
Sheikh Abdul Rahman actively recruited followers across the country.
The obligation of Allah is upon us to wage jihad for the sake of Allah. It is one of the obligations which we must undoubtedly fulfill. And we conquer the lands of the infidels, and we spread Islam by calling the infidels to Allah. And if they stand in our way, then we wage jihad for the sake of Allah.
Some immigrants in this country are quietly breaking laws regarding polygamy. It is illegal in all 50 states to marry more than one person at a time, but under Islamic law, a man can marry up to 4 wives. An estimated 50,000 Muslims in the U.S. live in polygamous families.
Daisy Khan heads the American Society for Muslim Advancement and is married to an imam. Khan says she raises the issue with the engaged couples she counsels.
I also explain to them that as a woman, you have certain rights, and as a man, he may one day exercise his right to have a second wife.
Mollie Norris is now in hiding because she's received threats from Al-Qaeda after she sponsored a cartoon contest in the newspaper featuring Muhammad.
She hasn't just gone into hiding. She's changed her name. She is essentially in a witness protection program. As she points out, the government is not supporting her. But Mollie Norris is no more. She has disappeared off the face of the earth. Why? Because she has been put on the hit list by al-Awlaki, the same guy that inspired the Fort Hood shooter, the underwear bomber. She sponsored an Everybody Draw Muhammad contest. In other words, South Park, remember South Park had the Muhammad controversy where they mentioned Muhammad, and then as a result the creators of South Park were targeted by the same Awaki. She started her contest on the theory that if everybody drew Muhammad, then the jihadists couldn't kill everybody. It would diffuse the threat to any individual who happened to tread on that ground a cartoon of Muhammad. Mollie Norris tried to back out of it when she saw how big it was getting. She had 100,000 people who were going to participate. There were 100,000 in the website that was opposed to the contest, but it was too late for her to back out. By then, she was on the hit list. The FBI advised her to go underground. This is an example, Bill, I'm telling you, of the, however wacky we think it is, these people in the Muslim extremist faction, and there are tens of millions of them, they will kill you dead, the way they killed Theo Van Gogh, the Dutch filmmaker.
I got him standing by.
Hey, Mr. Thompson, Stan. It's an interesting afternoon. He's talking, Wayne Sapp spoke. He came to the barricade, and the mob rushed the gates. Started assaulting the police officers who were keeping them back. They had to call in a SWAT team to push back the crowd. They were throwing shoes and projectiles into the crowd of supporters. I managed to get in with the crowd, so I got up close personal with the Pastor Jones. So I'm getting it all on tape. And, it's just incredible stuff. I mean, we're just 99% of the people in the crowd are not, they're Muslims, and they're just screaming. They're not protesting anything other, I think, than just to, mimic their brethren in Egypt and Syria.
We have to use the stupid word offensive. Those of us who believe in the Enlightenment and the Constitution and the First Amendment are very much offended by this mad, babyish conduct. But we don't go out and kidnap the nearest Muslim we can find and take him hostage till someone apologizes. Okay. We don't violate diplomatic immunity. We don't, which is one of the most precious things in the international community, much more precious than the right of Muslims not to have their feelings hurt. The whole thing is a scandal, and we're all running scared from it.
Okay, let's let Ahmed Yunus.
I'm so sorry. I'm a little late coming out. Backstage, I was talking to the guy from CBS. We were going through the CBS life insurance policy to see if I was covered for jihad. They say the guy, there was a threat, it's what they call a fatwa. I have a fatwa on me. A second to thank the extra security that have been so helpful for us today. First of all, those guys over there, thanks, guys. I appreciate your help. And we were talking about this, and I said, well, how many security guys do you think we need? I think just a couple would be enough. And they said, no, a couple of guys on the side. And then they said, and we would like to have a couple of guys in back. I said, okay, so nice job back there. I appreciate you guys. And this is nice. Our announcer, Alan Coulter, is helping out. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the threat so seriously. Thank you.
What threat?
All right, Alan, sit down. Just sit down.
Dave, can I just search that guy?
No, sit down.
Sharia is a totalitarian threat to America. Mosques are Trojan horses.